Trixie? Yeah. Ever think this fic would be just better if this was more Utena? A lot of fics would be better if this was just Utena. Even that Starfleet fic where Lightning goes to school would be better if it was just a Utena story. Yeah. And then we had to deal with Lightning most likely losing his first duel because he's too weirded out by everything that happens in there. What I'm saying is Utena is awesome. And great. Well, time for the epilogue. And I mean, the chapter is the epilogue. It was 6 in the morning when Spike woke up. It had been another sleepless night. He was far too afraid to close his eyes to let sleep take him. It would be another day or two before exhaustion finally caught up with him and he was forced to fall asleep and embrace his nightmares. His eyes stung as he stared at the ceiling of Carousel Boutique. He'd been living with Rarity for almost 7 years now. They had been the best years of his life, even if he didn't sleep well for most of them. The only remedy was more cowbell, was to roll over to his side and stare at his loving sleeping wife. Rarity had managed to cuddle up snug to him, her hose wrapped around his chest. The soft vibration of her purrs would help lure the dragon to a snooze. There he could rest peacefully without fear of seeing them in his dreams. But today was not a day he could afford to sleep. For him, it was that time of the month. He would always have to be careful not to wake Rarity. She deserved her beauty sleep, not that she needed it. She would always be beautiful to him, but she still didn't want to wake her. Slowly, Spike lifted up one of her soft hose from his chest, freed himself from his own lover's clutches, and then carefully slid off of Rarity's princess-sized bed. Easier than you'd think, as the mattress was so soft it hardly caused any vibration when one of the two rolled in their sleep. Mostly be Spike, considering his sleeplessness. When the dragon was finally out of bed, he gently gave his love a kiss on the cheek. "I'll be back soon," he whispered, knowing full well Rarity was fast asleep. Spike carefully crept to the front of the bedroom door, opening it before slipping by silently. He made sure to close the door gently behind him as he made his way down the hall. "Nan?" Spike froze in his tracks as he slowly turned around. There stood one of his angels, Citrine. His second oldest stood out of the door. Citrine, like all of Spike and Rarity's children! Whoa! Was considered what Force had aptly named Kieran, or a sort of pony dragon hybrid. Unless it's not a dragon-y. Seriously, Myken. Read a mythology book. She had dragon-like purple eyes and a pair of fangs. Besides that, the daughter took after her mother, having brilliant diamond-like fur. I wish it was crystal clarity. Citrine's coat was so brilliantly bleached, one could swear she was through at times. She was a pony build rather than a dragon, 4 hooves and all, but the tip of each of her hooves were tubby little green claws, that she rather enjoyed painting a variety of colors. Her hair was also like Rarity's, deep purple mane that tail fell down in long curls. "Hey there, princess," smiled Spike as he went to hug his daughter. "What are you doing up so early?" "Going to see your friend again?" she asked, staring long purple eyes at her father. "Yeah, but don't worry. I'll be back before you know it." "I want you to go, Daddy," the white Kieran whimpered as he hugged her father harder. "Hey, I'm not going forever, just an hour," said the dragon, reassuring his daughter. "Now back to bed, and I'll be back for breakfast. You have to help Mommy cook Daddy's eggs, so that's the way she likes them." Don't mention eggs. I have a student here, who's still a little bit upset. My poor egg!" "Darn it, Nanami, it's okay. I was just trying to cook you an omelet to make you feel better, because your brother's right now missing. God." Citrine giggled a little and she nodded. "It's your catch up, right?" "You know it, Citrine." "Okay," she said before quietly turning invisible. The door to her room slowly closing by herself. "Try not to wake your brothers and sisters," warned Spike as the little filly crossed the door. Wow. So, I don't know if you guys know this, but for some odd reason, fanfics and, hell, Western cartoons too, and I think even some anime always loved doing this tradition of when a heroic couple get married, have at least 2 kids. And if you don't believe me, I remind you, Naruto and Hinata, 2 kids. Goku, 2 kids. Our boy Aang, 3 kids, but still more than one. Seeing a pattern here, but that fanfics have this weird tradition of, for some odd reason, giving the hero kid for their next generation twins. But hey, they decided to go with more than twins. When Rarity gave birth to her 6. 6? I mean, I understand, but 6? Each one was oddly gifted. They decided to go a whole route. They decided to give birth to 6 kids. The doctors only assumed it had something to do with the mother being a unicorn. How else could Citrine, a hornless pony hybrid, be able to completely turn invisible? Plot convenience. Spike slowly walked down the stairs to the shop, being sure not to wake everyone else up. There's never anything to eat in this house. That's because you eat, Lordhead. Spike rolled his eyes. Oh, great. Instead, he walked down the stairs, quietly jumping the last few steps before peeking through the kitchen door. There was a scaly, dark body raiding the fridge. Hey, there's cake in there! You idiot, we both can't have that! The white-scaled whelp pulled his head out of the fridge. If only he had a little, no one will notice, Onyx. How stupid are you, Obsidian? Mumbled Onyx, as he too pulled his head back. His neck stretched out to the same body. Onyx and Obsidian were twins in the family. They were the middle children. Spike and Rarity could never figure it out. Out of all their kids, Onyx and Obsidian were the most dragonish, almost fully fire like their father, with the exception of their round pony eyes. Onyx was a dark red, and Obsidian was a dark blue. Their structure was bigger than a normal whelp, as they had 2 stomachs to feed, and twice the size of their brothers and sisters. They had black scales, claws, and feet like a normal dragon, and 2 necks that split at the shoulders. Fortune said that since dragons usually birth from litter of eggs, that 2-headed dragons were the equivalent of twins. Excuse me a sec. Hey! Stop raping biology! You care? Okay. Let's take this from the top. The only way this could possibly work is through a genetic defect. Twin-headeds cannot be the equivalent of twins. If that were true, then multi-headed dragons would be the equivalent of things like octuplets. That makes no sense. Come on, Vic. This is the epilogue. Don't give me a brain tumor now. Wait, I just got over my last one. But this does raise an interesting question that I don't think anybody should ever ask. When we do interspecies sex in all these other universes, when it comes to gestation and the motherly side of things, who takes on more of what the female does when it comes time to give birth? Like, say, if a male member of the egg-laying species has sex with the female member of the egg-laying species. I mean, when it comes to 2 mammal species, like, say, a tiger and a lion, it doesn't matter because when they have a liger or a tyon, they are still mammals, so they pop up. Now, if I remember right, the way to tell the difference between a tiger and a tigon is if it's a liger, it's a male lion. If it's a tigon, it's a male tiger. And mules are usually bred when you have the male jack banging a female horse. So I guess when it comes to interspecies breeding, like say if a human male were to bang a legging creature, like say, oh, I don't know, a female dragon, I'm guessing that part of it would be, it would have a lot of human traits. True, but it's the female that's giving birth, so it would make more sense for the female gestation to be the one that's working on that. Trixie, I didn't know you knew that word. Oh, Trixie didn't originally know it, but considering all the porn jokes you have made in your life, Trixie just picked it up by osmosis. Oh, yeah. But Trixie has a point. When I did fall, I basically just said that since Rarity is the one carrying the child, it would fall upon equine anatomy to give birth to the baby. But this Rarity has a dragon heart, so it shouldn't matter. Remember, we replaced her heart, not her uterus or her ovaries. She still has equine anatomy. She still has equine parts. So, technically, yeah, this is total bullshit. The Next Generation by Kilala got it right. If Spike were to bang any pony, the female pony would be the one who would be responsible for the gestation and all that. The child would still have traits of both members of the family, of both parents, but since it's the mammal that's giving birth to the egg-laying creature, it would be more like it would be one child or two, because horses rarely have twins, and would gestate for 11 months, and it would be a live birth, because she would still have teats that would still be needed to be used. There's a reason why in Fall of Starfleet, when every pony went back to normal and turned back to their equine forms, Rarity got a little embarrassed when she noticed her heart's memories, because I can imagine that in Equestria, and I can confirm that, being a pony myself, that yeah, they use blow blankets to probably cover those up because, we see them. And we just spent about 2 minutes discussing genetics and discussing biology. I like discussing science. Science is fundamental education. Yay! You just wanted 6 kids and you just didn't want to stick with biology. Didn't you? And you just wanted something weird you need to go, hey, look how clever I am! Yay! The two-headed dragons were the equivalent twins, so they could be quite a handful, always fighting together for control of the body. One bite won't hurt anyone, I guess, muttered Onyx as he reached with the arm towards the freezer. Said Spike, opening up the door. On Macross, Max and Amelia have 7 kids, and one says twins. That's more interesting. If your mother and sister knew about this, I think they would be pretty upset. Oh, crap. Hey, Dad. Don't hey, Dad, me. What do you do like so early? In the fridge, too. We were just hungry. It was his idea, they both shouted, pointing to the other head. What? It was your idea, butthead. No, it was yours, Bart Breath. Will you both be quiet? Says Spike, setting the twins up. Now you two are going to muster to your room and go to sleep for the next hour. When I get back, we'll get you some breakfast with everyone else. But until then, don't touch the cake. Both heads of the twin drank nigh as they scurried past their father and rambled upstairs. Spike sighed as he left the kitchen and headed out the door. It was the middle of spring, but the air was still nipping outside. Not that it bothered him too much. Pineville was still asleep. Shops and things would not open up for another couple of hours. He knew that the florist would be closed today. Quickly steal a rose from one of the rose bushes outside Rarity's shop. He prayed he wouldn't find out. Yeah, Spike's got a duel in a few minutes. Walking up that tower. We're never letting you watch Utah in the mornings again. Into the town the dragon went, deserted as he expected. The sun was barely even up. How Celestia got up at this ungodly hour each day was beyond his understanding. The walk to the edge of Everfree was uneventful, but it was usually such at such an early time, and on a weekend no less, when most sane ponies were sleeping in. But you can only sleep in if you fall asleep on a regular basis. Spike took his first step into the forest. Not the first time he made this trip, it would not be the last time. As he wanted to weather path to his destination. Again, in an uneventful walk, but it was better this way. Only a few knew what he did in the woods of the Everfree, and even fewer understood why. Hey there, he said as he reached his destination. It was an old tree, probably a couple thousand years old. Its trunk pierced through the skies, like most older trees did. The bark was old and bitter. But the tree was the only landmark that the dragon used to find a place every few months. As the base of the tree lied the true purpose of his trips here, and what he told his children was visiting an old friend. The dragon placed the rose on the grave of Dark Conquest. Oh, how sweet! Got to your rose this time, sighed Spike as he stared at the rock that had been scratched his unholy name onto. I never knew your favorite flower, so I guess this was a rose this time. You noticed it was sort of rust this morning. And here we are. Oh, I'm letting Spike have his moment with Connie. Me, you know what time for. Time for the review. This fic... It's weird. This is the 4th rodeo I've been to. And I don't know how, but I feel like my hate towards this thing has gotten more and more as I've done this. I've listened to this fic. I've read this fic on my own once. Hated every single minute of it. I've listened to this fic as a live read done by a guy who has actually inspired this style. I've done this live read, and I'm doing that stuff with my brother on Discord. So all in all, 4 times. And everything about it just hurts. And the weird thing is, out of all of it, this fic still doesn't have a TV Tropes page. Ain't that weird? My story, Fall of Starfleet, has a tropes page. This thing, Conquest's birth, his original adventure, his original fic, no tropes page. So in the end, in the Tales of History, as we move on through our destinies and our lives, the world is going to look back on this fic right here, and not know that Conquest was born here. The world will look at my fic, look at my stories, and think Dark Conquest was born from me. And to think, all because I asked permission to use him from Flimflam Bros. And yeah, once again, I didn't steal. I asked for permission. It's right there in the description. It's right there in the author's notes. I've posted and told you guys where to find it every time. But of course, people who don't like me will never read that type of stuff to research. Oh no. How long has it been? I've told you. 4 years. I told you, 10 years. Well, actually, even longer. I read this fic back in 2013. 6 years? 6 years since I haven't heard your brutal laughter? 6 years since I've had to see that damn smile? 6 years since you've been dead? He grinned a little. Almost don't believe it myself, but been no sign of you. No egotistical warning or gloating. No strange deaths. It's like you really are gone. The cold grave stood still. Then why do you still torture me? Well, not really. I tortured myself for one good reason, Spike. Because fall has been a memorable fic for me. All the things that I got from it, a Trots page, friends, notoriety, and all that, because of that fic. Also, I've got others that are waiting to be published that I would love to have Trots page. Stuff I've worked on, I wish somebody would go, hey, that needs a Trots page. Because Legend did some cool things in there. I would prefer those, but if I gotta have one fic that has a Trots page, that's it. And I decided for my 10th anniversary, why not honor it with this live read? And maybe, just maybe, I could convince somebody out there to make a Trots page for this fic. So people could say, hey, that's where Dark Conquest was really born. Because if there's one tragedy I feel with all this, is that my fic will be the one that has Conquest's name on it, but this fic might be forgotten. And I kind of feel bad about it. Because, despite as much as I hate it, stuff like this needs to be memorized. Needs to be memorialized and stuff like that. Because I feel guilty. My conquest is more noted. I feel wrong. So, anybody want to hear what the good of it is? Sure. How come I built you a grave even though you don't deserve it? Or visit you? Or even though you're not my friend? Well, I told you, Spike. There is good of it. The comedy works sometimes. Spike being snarky about Conquest's shenanigans is something that I think is a relief, and I think he does speak for us all at times when he starts riffing into Spike as much as we do, when he starts riffing into Conquest and the scenarios. The attempts at world building are to be commended, and are to be, respected. Not that it works, but it's to be respected. And I do like the additions of other dragons. It's a nice attempt to bring in the other ideas, even if they do feel like they're cribbed from, say, Dragon Riders. But that's about it. The tomb did not answer. Am I still afraid of you? Do I do this every month to show that there's someone who cared for you because that was the only way to stop you? Have you corrupted my mind so I'm paranoid of your return? Spike took a deep breath. It's funny. You're probably laughing your ass off right now. You find this hilarious that I put a flower in your grave. He looked at the mouseless grave. All the bad that you did in this world. I don't blame you anymore. I learned to rise above what others think. And this is what I think. He took his knee down, staring at the tomb. I don't think I do this out of pity or hate. I do this because I'm a protector. I have wife and kids and I have to spend the rest of my life coming back there to be it. Really, is that the character development and the moral we're supposed to take from all this? He got up. I am sorry for what happened to you, Conquest. May your next life have peace in it. Legendbringer, do you know what happened to this world after this fic in this chapter? What? Well, you remember how in Fall I had this little dark world that was full of misery and shadow where I had my home? Oh, yeah. As a matter of fact, at this chapter, I came back, blew up the world, and then proceeded to start doing my usual conquest stick all across the multiverse. It was soon after I destroyed a Naruto hate fic that I met my good buddy Necromancer, who helped me find other fics that just stopped and I destroyed them. And then I went after a Sorcerer, Chaos, and some Emeralds, and met up with Kudos, who told me about Starfleet. Now, I had to cut our talk a little short this month, but I'm sure you'll forgive me. I did it for you, after all. He looked at the tree again. Such a wonderful thing survived all this time. Through disasters and flames, it still stood there. He looked at the grave again. A large rock that had Conquest's name on it was next to a smaller one that had been weathered all this time. R.I.P., Mr. Squirrel. Just remember I buried you next to your friend, and I hope you found him up there, or down there. I don't know. He started to turn around. See you next month. Spike left the graves. The newly planted rose lays on top of the last month's flower was it started to decay by then. He easily navigated through the forest and headed back into town. It was still very quiet. There was no point in sight. Happy thoughts, Spike. Yawned Spike as he approached the boutique. Happy thoughts. He reached for the door, but he was soon tackled by a blur of red. Ying, dang home, said a bouncing, happy red Karen on top of Spike's chest. Morning, Ruby, groaned the dragon. Ruby was his youngest daughter, by far the most energetic. Like her name suggested, this child had a bright red coat, but also had some dragon scales aligned with her facial features, mostly along the nose and around her eyes. Her tail was a dragon tail, long and lizard-like, covered with her red coat, and her mane was a messy, untamed mess of dark crimson hair, sticking out at all ends and frayed, almost resembling a wildfire. Hey, Dad, do you want to play Fireball? Ruby asked as he burst into flames. Ruby couldn't breathe fire like Onyx or Obsidian could. Instead, she could become fire, running and bouncing along as she torched everything she touched, which earned her the nickname of the Trotting Apocalypse. Maybe later, my little fire hazard, smiled Spike as he pitched his flaming child up. So cool it down till after breakfast, so we'll play. Promise, asked Red Kieran as she returned to her normal self. Promise. Hey, is everyone else up? Yippers! Giggled Ruby as she wiggled out Spike's claws and ran around the house. Mommy, Dad's home, she yelled, disappearing to the store. Spike walked into the house, leading into the kitchen. Hey, everyone, I'm back. Hi, Dad, lead his son Topaz, sitting at the table. Out of all the Spike and Rarity's kids, Topaz was almost entirely unicorn. You know, shouldn't all the kids, No, wait, they do. Citrine is a gem. It is. Well, the sets of his orange dragon eyes that were covered by thick glasses and fangs was all the kids possessed. Aside from that, Topaz looked like a run-of-the-mill unicorn. Yellow coat and short blonde waving tail. Morning, Topaz. What's you got there? Oh, this? Asked Yellow Unicorn, just reading the book in his house. New book I got yesterday from Multi Twilight. Advanced copy of the Princess's Spell Handbook. All the best spells ever used by Princess Celestia and Luna. Sounds like we have a maid in the family, laughed Spike, ruffling his son's mane as he took a seat down next to him. Just remember to take your nose out of the book every now and then, okay? Okay, Dad, said Topaz, staring right back into his book. Good talk. Is everyone yet? I think that Jane's still asleep, mumbled the Yellow Unicorn, not really paying attention. He's always asleep. Only one in this family, apparently, muttered the Drake as he headed upstairs. As he walked up, he saw the aged Opal sliding down the steps, meowing at Spike. Morning to you too, Fleabag. Get him! Screamed Ruby from the top stairs. Energetic Karen started galloping towards the terrified cat, and ran away as fast as the little legs would take it. The red filly was too fast. He casted a moving feline before he could make it to the cat door. I'm not you, Mr. Kitty. Opal looked desperately at the dragon, meowing as the air was being squeezed out of her in the iron grip of the red filly. You two have fun, snickered Spike as he ascended the stairs. Jay's room was the first door to the right, easy to find considering the poison-colored skull poster stuck to it. Jade, you awake in there? He asked, knocking the door. No answer. I'm coming in, he said, slowly opening the door to his daughter's room. He almost vomited from the stench that dwindled to Jade's room. There were dirty clothes everywhere, along with stacks of dirty dishes and moldy items of course. In the far side of the room was a small bed. A mess of dirty blankets and pillows were piled up against the wall as the sleeping green filly lay on top. Jade, the middle child, was an odd one. I gotta give the Fic credit. At least it's trying to make sure that the kids all have individual personalities. One other Fic we can mention. And I do love it when it does that. It's a good story when it remembers that not all kids grow up to be like their parents. I just wish the ads next to FimFiction right about now were of Crunchyroll and some DVDs so I could look at. Instead, I'm just looking at this Tech University ad. She had a dark green coat, jet black mane and tail. She was mostly pony. Even had a unicorn's horn. Also had a pair of scaly green dragon wings that developed at an early age. Down among her coat were small gray scales. They were mostly hidden under her fur. Her hands on the hair just right. She would sparkle like a prized gem. Looked absolutely beautiful. "Come on, Jade. Time to get up," said Spike as he walked to the window of the bedroom, stepping over one of his daughter's Pontaga shirts. 5 more minutes," Sleepy Philly droned, curling up deeper into the large ball of blankets and pillows. Almost like how dragons curled up in piles of treasure, but more smelly. "No, Jade, no," said her father, picking up the green Karen off of bed. "Swear you sleep almost as much as I used to." "And did Auntie Twilight wake you up as well?" She grumbled as she rolled in Spike's arm, trying to fall asleep. "All the time," chuckled the purple drake. "It's placing Jade on the floor. She wake me up early than this and send me to work. Wow." "Yeah, silly daddy's not so bad. Come on, let's go down and eat." "That's a second." The green filly says he started looking around for dirty clothes. "I need to find a shirt." "On the floor?" "Honey, we have dressers and closets." "Well, my toys are in my dresser," muttered Jade. Spike rolled his eyes as he walked to the closet. "Well, there has to be something in here you can wear." "Don't have a net," shouted Kieran as he quickly dashed in front of the closet, holding it close behind her. "It's messy in here." "Really? Messier than the rest of the room?" "Yes." "Jade, what are you hiding?" Little Philly sighing her feet. "Please don't tell Mom." "So you have a cow as he saw him." "Him?" asked Spike as he gently pressed the side aside, opened the closet. Gasped Spike as a dark brown bat flew out of the closet. "No, it would squeak." Slipping over his head as it started to circle around him. "So, can I keep him?" "Absolutely not." "Why not?" "Well, like you said, your mother would have a heart attack if she saw this." "Mom hates everything cool," grumbled the annoyed child. "But what if I promise to take really good care of him?" "The answer is still no, young lady." "When we have a stupid cat, why can't I have a bat?" "First of all, that's your mother's stupid cat." Drawn Spike. "As much as you and I hate it, your mother and sisters love it, so we keep it until Ruby your family strangles it." Jade couldn't laugh at her father's joke. "Second," smiled the Drake as he looked to the window. What do you call it again?" Jade gave a smile. "Killer. Lust for blood." She cackled evilly. "Well, what if Killer would live in the tree next to your room?" "Physically not be a pet of this household." He went to the window and opened it. "But unfortunately, it'd be like having a pet." "Really?" The gate to Polly, hugging up to her dad. "You're the best." "Just don't let your mother find out, or he's gone," sighed Spike. It was such a pushover. "I won't, I promise," smiled Jade as he quickly picked up her Pontaga shirt from off the ground and quickly threw it over her head. "I suppose we should head downstairs?" "Yeah, I'm starving," smiled the green Kieran. "Racy daddy," she says to open up both legs and flaring out the room. Spike slowly followed her walking down the stairs. Topaz was reading a different book on the couch. For the looks of it, the title was Magic 101, a beginner's guide for unicorn spells. "Kid really likes his books. Wonder who he reminds me of," he asked himself jokingly, making it to the kitchen. When he walked in, he saw 2 nightmares standing by the stove, cooking what looked like eggs. "Oh, don't mind me, Spike. I'm cooking something for myself. I'm also cooking something for this review." As for the bad, oh, God. Where do we start? Well, let's start from something new that my little brother added to this that I didn't think about. The pacing on this story sucks. Let's go over the events of this fic. Spike has a fight with the Diamond Dogs, gets training, gets backstory, gets molested by Luna, backstory, molested by Luna again, backstory, teams up with the main 6, goes on a diplomatic mission, fucks Rarity, war, fights Conquest. Conquest backstory. Wedding. Don't all those seem like they just went too fast? Like, the whole entire we need to call the elements to handle this indomitable threat came way longer than it should. Because, you know, the main six are the heroes. They should be called first off. They're the elements. But, nope. Not even called, not once. Spike gets called for training. Then, oh no, Conquest is coming. We're doomed. We've got no chance. Feels like there was a step missing here. We also have a backstory that could have been told in one chapter, spread out over the course of 5. Meanwhile, the backstory that should have been important, i.e., Conquest's whole MO, life story and stuff, that should have been told over multiple chapters, was scrunched down to 1. We have Spike going off on a diplomatic mission that feels like it just came out of the blue just because the author wanted more dragons. All this leads to a very long and downright atrocious fic that does not know when to begin, end, or even start. Unlike this lovely little breakfast sandwich I'm making. Gotta love my egg and cheese biscuits. There you are, smiled Rarity as he quickly gave her husband a kiss on the cheeks. I miss you this morning. Daddy went out to see his friend again, said Citrine, who was standing on a stool next to her mother. The little daughter was focusing on the frying pan, her tongue sticking out as she scrambled the eggs with her hooves. The claws sticking out for allowing her to get a good grip on the wooden spoon she was using to do scrambling. I know, dear, sighed the unicorn as he levitated a plate next to the pan, dumped the eggs on. I just never know why. You know why. Yes, but I don't know why you're visiting him. Can we meet your friend someday? Maybe when you're older, said Spike, knowing full well he would never expose his kids to the evil that was Conquest. Even if that was just his tomb. He'll hopefully be able to take that story to his grave. It's gonna talk for forever, sighed the white filly disappointingly as he grabbed a bottle of ketchup. Ketchup? You know it, princess, smiled Spike as his daughter happily drowned his breakfast with half a bottle of ketchup. That's good enough. Thank you, Citrine. You're welcome, Daddy, patted Karen happily. I'm gonna go play, he says as he runs out of the kitchen. Rarity waved the white filly and left the room. We're sitting down next to Spike. Finally. She sighed. They've been up all morning. I just got the little monsters fed. What about Jade? She's grabbed a toast and went flying out the window. I love her, but she's an old one. Just because Jade is different, doesn't make her any less special. I just wish you wouldn't wear those horrid shirts, said the unicorn. Taking a sip of tea as he levitated towards her. She thought before taking a deep breath, listening to a small trail of blue fire out the bottom of the cup. There we go. She smiled as she took another sip of the now steaming tea. It covers up her scales. She's so pretty when she's not hiding under those rags. This, Rarity, what you've been acting like is another point of major contention for me in this fic. The absence of things from the show. I wouldn't mind it so much, but this fic was made after Camelot Wedding. So things like cadence should have been more prominent. Especially on a story that tiles itself for the ones we love and is supposed to be based around relationships like this. But we don't get that. Cadence is missing, and so is the Crystal Empire. It feels like a later season MLP episode where they forget something about the basic characters. And that's the other thing. For all of its talk of getting mentioned, the elements, which should be weapon number 1 against Conquest, are gone. They say they're getting weaker with each shot, but we don't see it. We still see that he gets imprisoned quite easily. But nothing happens. Hell, the absence of Conquest is awakening hurts this fic. We're told by Conquest that they found the elements under the couch, used them to beat Discord, and apparently he had his greedy little hoes in Nightmare Moon's Corruption, Discord, and Chrysalis. Okay, so that means, was he free at the time, or did he become a spirit? This fic raises too many questions about that, and the absence of a solid timeline hurts that. Because this fic then tells us Conquest is so threatening, so unbeatable, so strong. Then we hear from Fort, oh, he's been beaten 3 times. 3 times? I don't know if you people remember Other M, and one of the things that we all hated about it, but one of the big points about why we hated Samus going, oh no, was that she had beaten Ridley by this point multiple times. So he should have been more like, again? Once during the Zero mission, that's fine. But after that, it should be more like, oh, you again. Like that annoying bug that keeps popping up every year. But we still see this fic trying to tell us, nope, Conquest is all that and a bag of chips. Really? All that and a bag of chips? And we also see him get easily handled by a dragon, and we don't even get to see him fight Celestia that much. All he does is just jump around. Now, I commend this fic for giving a reason why he was acting so childish. All we see is him just jumping around, dodging. We don't get to see him fight in any of this so-called invincibility. I actually show Conquest being invincible by bitch slapping Lightning. But nope, he's invincible. And this adds to the other part of it all. But you two continue the conversation. I want to listen. She doesn't like being sparkly. I think there's nothing wrong with being beautiful. Well, there's nothing wrong with wanting to have your own fashion, honey, smiled Spike as he took his first bite from the eggs. These are good, he says, he chewed. I think some Pony has a gift at cooking. One of these eggs with the same amount of ketchup, grinned Rarity. Still, I wouldn't be surprised if she turned up one day with an egg or something for a cutie mark, said the dragon, scraping out the last of the eggs in his mouth. Seriously, these eggs are fantastic. Maybe one day. I just feel bad for Onyx and Obsidian. The siblings will all get cutie marks, but not them. I think they'll be too busy fighting each other to notice, laughed the dragon, getting up from the table and placing it in the sink. I was nervous that I never got my butt tattoo. I think you would look very cute with one. Spike rolled his eyes. Yes, because cute would be what I was going for. Cutie marks don't reflect your special talent, smiled the white mare, also getting up and placing her cup in the sink. But just because you don't have one doesn't make you any less special. But that's kind of the thing. Lack of character. I know, and I know Onyx and Obsidian will find their own thing that makes them special, and find somebody special. Well, really? Are you hiding somebody? Well, don't tell anybody I know this, but I think our little dragons have a crush. Aren't we, gossip? Spill. You're not going to believe this. But with Applejack, and there we go. Look, it's because of Pony I've gotten used to the point where I can enjoy a fanfic with a side character like Trixie. We all know I love it. Or read a fanfic with a background character like Derpy. You know I love it. But the thing with those above, they don't involve the main 6. This one does. This is a spare T. In other words, Rarity is a main character. And I'd like to point out to all the other times we've had fics that centered around one of the members of the main six, the others still did something, even though they were in the background. This fic doesn't do that. Oh, sure, it has the main six, but they might as well be PinkyBot 3000 over there. By the way, thanks for the use, Pinky. No problem. They might as well be that. Did you invent a Flutterbot too? I would, but Flutterbot is awfully shy and she likes to hide in a storage closet. You know, I'm not surprised. But anyway, a lot of times these actually have them do something. This fic seems scared to have any pony do anything of worth, especially the main six. Now, I know that there are riffers out there who'll get mad at me because I dare want the main six to be heroes and to use their own individual talents for good. And I know that there are people on the We Hate What Happens to MLP forum that hates the idea that the girls are heroes because they have different personalities. Oh no, they have differing personalities. Oh my god. Don't let them watch Gundam. They'll be convinced that Amuro is not a hero. Or Garrett. Or the Wing Boys. Or Gundam Meisters. Or any of them, because they all have personalities that don't match their definition of what makes a hero. So, keep it under your hat. But the main six are the main characters. They are the heroes of this story. So they should be allowed to do something. But they don't. And that's why I say this fic is worse than Micah when it comes to the treatment of the main six, because at least the main six in Starfleet do something. Oh, sure. They don't get special attacks, but at least they get Valkyrie modes. At least they're in the middle of the fights. At least they do something at the end. This fic just has them standing around, and when Conquest starts coming up, they're like, oh no, we forgot our spines. And when Spike is gone, they're like, oh no, we can't do anything. And I can't help but notice that it's mostly the female ponies that do this. Because as far as this fic is concerned, if you have a vag, you lack a spine. And that really cheeses me off. Because one of the things that ponies supposed to talk about is that there are no wrong way to be a woman, that it's okay to enjoy your femininity, and you can still be silly, shy, womanly, a farmer, and an athlete, and a bookworm, and still be a hero. That is a good message. And to have the girls do this, it's just insulting. And it's not like there isn't a way for you girls to have been heroes in this fic, to have done something. I thought of a way to do it too. Have Celestia tell every pony about Conquest in the first place. And she has Spike, who's now an adult, go off on a diplomatic mission to Dragonlance. Take Rarity with him. That way they can slowly build up the relationship. Make us believe. Make us want to root for them. And make us want to see them together. Meanwhile, Twilight and some of the other members of the team can go off and explore more about Conquest. Twilight could be going like, there has to be a weakness. So you can then start exploring Conquest's history. There's a perfect place for you to put in Conquest's backstory of who he is, why he is, how is he. I'm fine. Oh, thank goodness. Where he is, and what he is. That way, when all the characters converge back at the end, we feel like we have a complete story. But nope, had to make room for Tyrant Lestia, who is emotionless for somehow, or Mon Luna, where she proceeds to want to rate Spike every chapter. And that's just insulting. I found a picture of her under her pillow, along with a bunch of others with all of us, but there are hearts drawn on around her. It's adorable. Like father, like son. Always good for the sexy mirrors, just like his dad. And that's the other thing this fic has done wrong. My hatred towards my dislike asperity started with Rain Dust Sparkings on Season 4 of Starfleet. But they've been increasing over time. And now I have begun to not like it. Especially with that episode where they decided to turn Rarity into a little miss. I can't do anything without Spike. And I've got to be overly jealous for no good reason. I've got to be grabby about him. Really took the fun out of it. Because it felt like this is just a symptom of the obvious problems. See, age gap romances are fine. If Spike were to still hold on to his crush to Rarity when he was an adult, that'd be fine. Relationships like that have happened, and they're perfectly fine. Grooming is another story, but, things like that, those things happen. Hell, my mom and dad are 6 years apart. They met when she was about 26 and my dad was 32. So, no. Everybody was fine. But I begun noticing a trend with a lot of these disparity fics. That in order to make it work, a lot of other writers have this tendency to suck out Rarity's character. For example, that episode. It wants to remove Rarity's generosity and remove the fact that she's actually a hardworking mare. And say, oh, she can't do anything without an assistant. Ha ha ha. Oh, she actually has a little bit of compassion and caring and is a generous of her time. Oh, no. The moment Spike doesn't like her anymore, she thinks she broke his heart and needs to continue grabbing onto him like a jilted lover. Ha ha ha, it's not funny. Oh, Rarity needs to be overly feminine just to make Spike seem like he's a reliable one. Ha ha ha. Of Age works so well because it actually takes all the elements in and starts working with it, while still keeping Rarity who she is. A fabulous, generous mare who is a hard-working business mare. Yeah, I'm going to put emphasis on that. Business mare, i.e. owning 3 shops. What, did you all forget that? That she has to go to 3 different towns to work? Or did you forget that she made 12 clothes, 12 dresses, which take a lot of effort in one day? Oh, I forgot. You need to make the joke about her being overly feminine. What a way to show that you still are following Lauren Faust's vision. Brilliant. Just brilliant. And that's what these things tend to do. And as far as I'm concerned, and I've always held this up, if in order to make this ship work, you gotta take away a character's traits, it's not a ship worth having.
Look at it! Screamed Ruby from the room. Sounds writing hostess could be heard as he approached the door. Expecting company? I was. No, wondered Spike as he got up and headed to the living room. His wife following closely behind. When they got there, they saw two inferno dragons standing outside. One was quite large, definitely larger than Spike by at least 2 feet, but still short enough to be considered greedless. And Spike learned that was used as a term for a dragon that passed the greed. He had wide, broad shoulders and huge, bulging muscles everywhere. His scales were a darker red with bright yellow spines and blue eyes. He looked grouchy and serious and very intimidating. The other one was definitely female, about half the size of the other dragon, probably half a nose shorter than Spike. So he had a slim, slender build with a narrow shoulder and only slight curve around the or his chest. The dragoness was dark green with bright red spines that were styled to look like a pixie haircut. So he smiled at Spike and Rarity, looking at them with her blue eyes. Hello there. Welcome to Carousel Boutique, Ponyville's number for all things fabulous. Can we help you with anything today? Lawrence read Drake, glaring ear to ear at a smaller green one. Are you sure this is the right place? His voice was glowing proudly. I'm positive. Trust me, I'm just as confused as why he's living in a giant cake. It's a carousel! Sorry, have we met before? No, said the green dragon. Let's get this out of the way. I'm Mithril, and my brother Argo. Sup? Hey, said the purple drake. So anything me or Rarity could help you with? Yeah, we need to talk to you and alone. Spike turned his head to Rarity, who nodded. Ruby dear, let's go upstairs. Your father needs to be alone for a minute. Okay. Sighed the bouncing red filly, hopping up the stairs. I'll play fireball later, okay? Sure thing, sweetie. Spike smiled as he watched the star wipe disappear on the stairs before turning around to face the dragons. Okay, so what do you want? I want to know how this fig was supposed to be a pony anything. Because the story so wanted to ignore every single character from the show except for Spike and Rarity. It just wanted to continue doing its own thing. You want to see a good version of this? Watch my video on Of Age. It works so much better. And it's so much better told. And the best part is, Rarity doesn't lose her character in it. Just to chat for a bit, Spike, smiled Mithril. Nice kid. How many do you have? 5. 6 if you do a head count rather than a body count. Answered the purple drake. Twins, eh? Well, watch out for them. They could be trouble. Anyways, we didn't come here to talk about family, Spike. Dragon Quest blinked. How do you know my name? No important. I think it is. Pity. Easy, Argo, said the green dragon in a calming voice. We're here peacefully. Let's all take a second to be calm. I am calm. Yeah, me too. Fantastic. This is good. Look, unless you're actually going to tell me what you came here to tell me, I'm going to ask you to leave, said Spike. Fair enough. We need you to come with us. Why? It's important. So important you can't tell me? No, but we're not obligated to tell you. Then I'm not going. Look, Spike, we're not going to leave town. We just moved in. We have someone who wants to see you. Then why can't he come here himself? He's sort of stuck. Why we need your help? Is that all? Yes. Spike took a deep sigh. Fine, I'll come. But there's not be a trick. You're both going to regret it. Trust me, we wouldn't dream of it. So, this is it? Asked Spike as he approached the rather large cottage in the middle of town. By now, Ponyville had sprung to life, and every pony was out enjoying the day. Even a handful of new dragon citizens flying around, shopping, selling. It made a very smooth transition to the equestrian lifestyle. Even a few ponies were a bit freaked out. This is our home, said Argo as he opened the door and 3 of them went inside. It was rather dark and gloomy on the inside. Not very well kept, with plenty of broken and gnawed furniture. There was a thick layer of dust everywhere. Rarity would freak out as he saw this, muttered Spike. What? We just moved in, smiled Mithril. We need to decorate. Now follow me. He's in the kitchen. They went to the kitchen area. Like the rest of the house, it was a terrible condition. Not that anyone seemed to care, but sitting in the middle of the kitchen was a huge blue dragon with purple spines. Hello, Spike. That's the dragon said as Spike and others walked in. He was big, most definitely a couple of 100 years old. His large head was almost touched the ceiling. Even though he was scrunched up in calcium position, how he got in here, Spike hadn't a clue.
I'm so glad we could finally meet.
Nice to meet you too,
Backlash, said the Blue Dragon. My name is Backlash.
Nice to meet you, Backlash. Nithra and Arkin weren't kidding when they said you were stuck.
Is that what my kids said to get here? I would have hoped that their mothers had raised them better than a lie.
So you're not stuck?
Not at all.
Laughed the Blue Dragon, body suddenly starting to shrink, until he was no taller than Argo. How did you? Gasped the baffled Spike, not believing what he just witnessed.
I'm trying to learn when your body grows again. I keep forgetting your knowledge of our culture is limited, with being raised by ponies and all.
And that's another thing. Twilight's relationship with Spike was totally needed in this. How do you know that? Who are you? Demanded Spike.
Looks so much like her, Spike. You have her scales and eyes.
What do you know about my mama?
I know she was caring and protective, a bit rash at times, and even hostile towards others, but those are good traits to have in a mother. I was shocked to find out that she was killed, a bit surprised to find out one of her eggs had survived to move to Equestria.
You knew that?
Of course you did. And so I spent years looking for you, trying to find you, Spike, and now I finally have.
Why?
Why? I just did what any loving father would do to find his son.
Father? The end. And I saved this character in this part of the commentary all on its own. Conquest. You know, I find it interesting. I've read the riffs, and I've seen the comments. I've seen them call him Edgy Bad Boy, and that's true. I've seen them make fun of a fan art of him, and that's okay. And I love seeing how they talk about how he's being this edgy stuff and all that. I've read the sparkings where apparently I had Conquest go, at least I'm honest about my evil. And apparently my riffers did this type of math. Conquest says he's honest about his evil. Therefore, Conquest thinks he's good guy. No. Conquest still thinks he's evil. He just thinks he's an honest evil. Whether you think he's worse or better is all up to you. That, are we supposed to root for him? No, you're not. That we think he's that I think he's a good person? No, and all that. And I have to laugh every time. Because when I first read this, and then I listened to it, I hated Conquest. His character was just so annoying. The way the writing did him was just so aggravating. Every single minute of him, every single scene, I just wanted somebody, somewhere up there, to give him a love-powdered fist and take him out. Throughout my entire second and first read-through, all I could think of was how cool it would be if the main six took him out with Fluttershy or Rarity or Pinkie, or how in a better written story, Cadance would have been the main character. Because that is my big question. Why was this even a Spike story? Because, you know, you say, I'm powered by hate. I'm nothing but hate. You would think that the main character would be Cadance or something. And the way to beat him would be, oh look, hugging him and being without hate. And destroying him that way. I thought about all that time. I thought about how cool it would be to have some character do that. Like drop a Pinkie Pie love bomb on him. I despised him. And I wanted him dead. Much like how I despise Starfleet. As a matter of fact, that's how this whole thing got started. One day, I was doing one of my more private stories, and I wanted to do something with pony related. And I told myself, I couldn't do anything wrong to the main six. I respect them as characters too much. but I could do it to Starfleet. And I did. And I decided, okay, but who? Mikan said that Starfleet's supposed to be oh so OP and oh so great. Well, why not send Conquest? I despise him even more I do Starfleet. I think this fix sucks harder than anything Mikan's ever done. And why not? The main Starfleet is always stuck in a loop. They're stuck in a pattern. You got somebody who's stupid and insane. He would be able to mess with their heads because they're not used to something like that. He acts like he's overpowered. Well, Starfleet's overpowered. He's practically invincible and always regenerates. Okay, well, Starfleet's practically invincible. Alright, just throw it all together in a blender and hit hooray. He's put himself into every single thing that's gone wrong in Starfleet. Okay. Starfleet tries to have its hands in some of the important things about Pony, too. Alright, let's do it that way. Why not? And there you go. All the while, I hated Conquest. Because of all that. Because he was very much a stereotypical Gary Stu. He's the black and red alicorn. I despise that. He is OP. He continues to regenerate. I despise that part of his character. Nothing seemed to get him down. I despised that. I hated how he was always jumping around and being totally, utterly, unforgettably insane, and not in a good way. I hated every single damn moment. So when I said it was Starfleet, I did that. And we all know that I got inspired later on to have Applejack break a boar's tusk and kill him, and that inspired me to actually publish the story because I wanted my little brother to actually see it. But then I figured, okay, I still wanted to keep Conquest. That's why I asked Flim Flam. If I couldn't use Conquest, guess what? If Flim Flam Brothers didn't give me permission to use Conquest like they did, I wouldn't have done it. They told me no, I wouldn't have done it because Conquest is so pivotal. Why? Because I hated Conquest so much. I wanted you people to enjoy my hate. To quote Venom, we shared such a wonderful hatred. And that's it. I hated him, and I knew you guys would too. I figured I would send somebody who would be more hateful than Starfleet. Because let's face it, I hate him more than Starfleet's members. I hate him more than Lightning, Buddy, Artie, Starla, Raimi, and the racist twins. I hate him more than Graham Miller. I despised him. And yet, I think I did him better. Between me and Flim Flam, I did him best. Why? Because I do like the idea of somebody who's empowered by hate and feeds on nothing but it. I love the idea that somebody could be generating such hatred that he can that it grows. Because out there somewhere, there's always going to be somebody who hates something, no matter how small or big it is. And I like the idea that this Eldritch force could use that and make him practically invincible. And that the only way to beat him is with something so small as unconditional love. Like what Pinky or Fluttershy could provide. A simple hug. Because let's face it, in the real MLP story, this guy's a 2-episode villain at best. He could be defeated by a simple hug from Pinky or Fluttershy. He could be defeated by Cadence that's glaring at him. He was nothing. That's the other thing that made me hate him. He was acting like he was all big and bad and super strong, when he was nothing.
I'm Conquest. I'm invincible.
No, you're not. You got beaten 3 times.
I'm Conquest. I'm super fierce and unbeatable.
No, you're not. You continue to get simply ripped apart. All you are is just... You're terrible.
I'm dark.
And I had to laugh when people make fun of him because of that. And yet, I still enjoyed writing him. Why? Because I thought my jokes were better. I think I get a little more insane. And I also think Conquest represented a bad idea that could have been improved. If I wasn't writing it as a porn story, first, Starla wouldn't have been raped. I would have had Conquest mess with Lightning's head, made Lightning think either Starla was dead or that he accidentally killed her, and then have him go off on a rampage. I would have done some heavy-duty mindfuckery. That's what I would have done. Because that's what I liked about Conquest. Good idea, misused. And maybe that's in the end why I enjoy writing him. I like having heroes do that, to prove that they're better. And so in the end, that's why I used them. And that's how Starfleet got started. Well, next time, I know I got a few requests in the backlog that I want to do. And then maybe after that one request, we can get back to Sunny Days in 7 Days of June, because, my God, I feel like I feel bad for abandoning it last year. See you next time.